What better way to start off Team Thursday with objectively the biggest game for the Denver Broncos in the last 10 years? And I said this a little bit yesterday, but I want to double down. I want to be very clear about where I stand on this. I don't want there to be any confusion. I don't want there to be any, oh, he said this, oh, he meant that. Let me be very clear. When the Denver Broncos play the Buffalo Bills on Saturday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern Time, whatever time zone you are watching them, they are objectively and without a doubt the better team than the Buffalo Bills. They just are. Do the Bills have the better quarterback? 1,000%. No one would even attempt to argue the point. Do the Bills have the better running back? 1,000%. No one would even attempt to argue the point. That's then where it ends. The Broncos have the better offensive line. They have the better receivers. They have the better defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. Despite the fact that the Bills led the NFL, they had the number one passing defense. I think a large part of that was the fact that they were run on so much that people were willing to run and didn't care to throw so much on them, and so that's why the stats split out the way they did. Denver is better at every position besides quarterback and running back. Denver had 6 all-pro players. Denver's got the best offensive line in football. Denver led the NFL in sacks. They have the reigning defensive player of the year in the secondary, and him and Hufanga at safety, both in the secondary, both were all pro players. Denver's objectively the better team. Denver has the better head coach. No, and I'm going to try to be disrespectful to Sean McDermott, but Sean Payton is just better. I feel like, and I'm not trying to just be biased here, I feel like a lot of the Denver criticisms or analysis is that a lot of people just did not watch this team consistently throughout the game. They saw box scores and they saw them get down, and then the fourth quarter heroics, and they're like, I just don't trust this team. And if you don't want to trust them in the fourth quarter, or do you want to trust them because they had to win so many games coming from behind, I would say that's valid, with the exception of a lot of the people that I feel that I hear this from. They love the Bears, and the Bears do the same thing. But here's the more important telling stat that you can tell people do not watch the Denver Broncos. The last 3 games, they were held under 20 points, and it was against bad teams. You're right. The Broncos have not had a great offensive game since the Packers. They also haven't played a serious game, Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers, to end their season, that it was required for them to have a serious offensive game plan. Chargers were already locked into their seeding. Herbert didn't play. The Raiders are the Raiders. And the Chiefs were playing a third-string quarterback. You walk out there. You're clearly the better team. You don't get anyone hurt. You have a really basic game plan, really simple install stuff, and you just walk out with a W, which is exactly what they did and what they needed to do, and that's why they're the 1 seed. And that's why they're playing this game at home. Now, I believe that wholeheartedly. You could disagree, that's fine. We could argue about it later. But because I believe that, that means the most pressure this weekend isn't on Josh Allen to try to get to an AFC Championship game in a year where there's no Mahomes or Burrow or Lamar. It's not on Bo Nix, who's in his second year as a quarterback. The pressure and the expectation from this game should be, Sean Payton, this is how you earn your money. You're a $20 million plus head coach. And maybe this is unfair, but life comes at you fast in the NFL and professional sports. You have already done step 1 of what you were brought in to do as the Broncos head coach, which is bring the organization back to respectability. Can you get us back to respectable? Can you get us back to consistent, just good football? You did that. Now that you're in a position where you have the 1 seed, you're at home all playoffs, you just had a bye week, you being the offensive genius, the offensive guru, can you show why they pay you top 5 coach money? Because if this offense comes out and it's sputtering in the first quarter, in the first half, and it looks like the Raiders game, and it looks like the Chiefs game, and it looks like the Chargers game, then there's serious issues. I don't believe that will be the case. I think this game, I'm not willing to put it out there in the ethos, and some of that is a little bit of fan paranoia, and I don't want to jinx anything. But I think Denver absolutely can dominate this game. I think Denver get off to a fast start. I think the defense can do a much better job than people want to give it credit for of containing Josh Allen. I think this has a chance for R.J. Harvey to have a great game as far as running the football, which the Bills just naturally struggle with. But Sean Payton, this is on you. And I'm not saying this to be quote-unquote critical of Sean or to say, oh, you got to do this or it's a failure. I don't believe that. This season has been wildly successful, even if they would break my heart and don't win this game. But you are paid like a top 5 coach. You have the bye week. You have home field advantage. You are healthier. You have the better roster. Take advantage of it. Because if you can't take advantage of it in this position, the question will be fair, when are you ever going to take advantage of it? Again, you're healthier, better roster, you're at home, everything is ready for you. Yes, they have the best quarterback. They have the better quarterback. They got maybe the best quarterback on the planet right now. But I saw Houston, a defense that is, yes, I think the best defense in the league. I think we've gotten a little away from how much better Houston is than Seattle and Denver, who I think are also the second and third best defenses, respectfully. Denver is top 5 in yards allowed rush. I know the Bills played the Jaguars last week and they struggled to run the football, and Jaguars are the first best rush defense. Well, Denver's the third. Denver led the league in sacks. Denver was top 5 against the pass, both rating and yards allowed. Denver's got the best corner in football. Like, I know Houston's amazing. I know they're incredible. Denver is not that far off from Houston. And whichever team, and we have picks just in at the start of hour 2, and I'll let you know then who I'm officially picking in the scores. Denver or Houston has a chance that if either of these teams were to go on and win the Super Bowl, it stamps either defense as legendary. All the sacks, all the name value, the multiple all-pro players on Denver's defense. Houston, the statistics that line them up really conveniently and really well with the 2013, the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks. But for a defense to be legendary, you got to win a title. Said this yesterday. So Sean Payton, this is on you. You got to come out, and this offense needs to look like a legitimate offense. I ain't saying you got to score 40 points. I'm not saying you got to score 30 points. I'm saying you have to have consistent drives. Like if you get 9-10 drives out of this game, which I don't think you're going to get that much. I think there is going to be an emphasis to run the ball. So let's say it's a 7-8 drive kind of game. 6 of those 8 drives need to look really good. But Denver should win this game. 1,000%. Let's move on to the other 1 seed, the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing the 49ers, and I said this a little bit yesterday as well. I think Kyle Shanahan's the best coach in football. I think what you're seeing him do with this team, all its injuries, they had a chance to get the 1 seed. They have won a playoff game. I think it's incredible. Kyle has taken Jimmy Garoppolo and very young Brock Purdy, who I've apologized to Brock Purdy. I was wrong on him, but took those guys to Super Bowls. I think Shanahan does more with less than any coach in the league. He has had stacked rosters 1,000%, but he's taking lesser quarterbacks, and he has taken this team, which is injury-riddled and does not have near the name value or all-pro value that they had a few years ago, and to be this far, I think is absolutely incredible. I also think what's unfortunate for Kyle Shanahan is when you get these wonderful sports stories, the truth about them, they kind of always end bad. Look at last year in the NBA. The Indiana Pacers were an amazing story. Tyrese Halliburton, the pace they were playing, all the threes, all the clutch shots, incredible story. It ended with an injury and losing in Game 7. When you have these other teams historically that have had these great runs, and it's like, I'll use one of my favorite Bronco teams of all time, the 2011 Denver Broncos. It was a magical season. Tim Tebow, all the great wins, the moments. Were they an all-time team? Obviously not. But it was a magical run. It was a great story. They got blown out by the Patriots in the divisional round of the playoffs. I think there's another team, and for respect for my brother, one of my co-hosts here in the network, Will, I think Chicago's had a magical season. I think has a chance to get ugly on Sunday. Great stories are usually just that. They're great stories. How many in college football, like how many great stories, that Notre Dame team with Manti Te'o, that was a great story. They got to the national championship and they got destroyed by Alabama. Don't confuse great story with great season. Shanahan's done this repeatedly and multiple times and in different variations, so he is a great coach. That is not to be confused. But these individual seasons, they usually don't end as much as we'd love them to. This isn't a Disney movie. This is a team that is probably going to it could get real ugly against the Seahawks. And Seattle's in a similar boat to Denver, where everybody loves everything about Seattle except the quarterback. Even the best Sam Darnold guys just like him, especially in the playoffs and big games. So if he is going to be the guy that Seattle believes he can, the same way I said it's on Sean Payton, Sam Darnold, this is on you. You're the better team. You're at home. You're on rest. You got the better defense. You're healthier. You don't have to go out there and put up 50 points. But you got to win this game. Without a doubt.
I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.